Hi, friends. Happy Saturday. So glad you're here with me today for a live Q&A session and also a live shop review. So glad you're here. Let me know when you hop on. Just wanted to encourage you guys today a little bit before we jump into everything. I've had a lot of comments both on the YouTube channel and also on our Facebook community page, basically saying like I've only been on Etsy for like a couple weeks or a month and haven't made any sales yet, or just made one or two sales and discouraged. And I just want to encourage you guys, if you've only been on there for a couple weeks or a month, don't sweat it yet, at least. It a lot of times takes a while to get the ball rolling on Etsy. So I know when I first started my shop back in 2015, I don't remember exactly, but I want to say it was a couple months before I got my first order. And it was so just like, it's so hard to be patient and wait when you first open your shop in those first few weeks, because it's like crickets and you're doing everything that you can do to like boost your shop and boost your listings and trying to level up, and sometimes it can just take a while. So if you've only been on Etsy for a short length of time, it may feel like it's just dragging on, you're just not getting any orders, but just be patient. And what I would suggest is just to use every day to level up just a little bit more at a time. Just focus on those baby steps and that 1% that you can do for that day to make your shop 1% better and 1% leveled up that day. And don't get overwhelmed, because it does take a while sometimes to get the ball rolling on Etsy. Also focus on the things that you can do to get some momentum stirring up. So you guys have heard me talk about that if you've been around this channel for any length of time, but I would just encourage you, think of what you can do to get the ball rolling, to get some momentum. And I do have some videos on that if you're wondering like, well, what specific things can I do to help that? For sure, go check out the Etsy playlist after this live stream is done, and I talk in detail about some ideas along those lines. So just wanted to encourage you guys with that. Also remember, one thing that you can do even from the beginning is starting an email list. So you want to figure out ways besides just people come into your Etsy shop to connect with them. We're thinking long term and thinking like, how can we get return customers and return buyers for the long term? So one good way to do that is starting an email list, whether it be a newsletter, whether it just be something you're going to shoot out some emails every now and then with coupon codes or discounts or sales that you're running. It's great from the very beginning to start that email list, to get it going. And one great way to incentivize people to sign up for your email list is to offer some kind of freebie. It could be a downloadable file, some kind of planner sheet or goals sheet that you could create to offer people in exchange for them signing up for your email list. Or it could just be a coupon code or a discount code for them to use on an item in your shop. That's one great way to offer something to people for them in exchange for them signing up for your email list. So that's one thing. In the meantime, if you're still kind of like waiting on those sales to really start rolling in and you don't really know what else to do other than trying to like improve your shop, start that email list, get that going. Put the word out to your community that you have a newsletter or an email list that you're going to be sending out quarterly or whatever, however often you want to be sending that out, and go ahead and start getting people signing up for that. Hi guys, I see people hopping on. Hi Ruth. Hey Nikki, so glad you're here today. Poetic Faith, good morning. Yeah, if you're on, go ahead and type in a comment. Let me know you're here. I love to know where you guys are watching from. It's so interesting to me to see where everybody's from. We have people all around the world watching, usually on our live stream. So good morning. I hope you guys are having a great Saturday. You'll have to excuse me if I'm clearing my throat a little bit today. I got a little bit of a scratchy throat. So just say hi when you hop on. And today we are going to be doing a live shop review and also some live Q&A. We're going to do our shop review first, and then I'll get to the Q&A after that. But if you already know a question or two that you want to ask, or 5 or 6, however many questions you have, you can go ahead and type them in, and I will see them. I'm going to go back after the shop review up to the very top and start at the top and answer as many questions as I can today. So if you already know the questions, you can go ahead and type them in. just make sure to put, it helps me to know it's a question for me to answer if you put 4 question marks in the front before you type the question. So if you're going to put a question, make sure to just put 4 question marks. That way when I go back, I will know which ones are the questions to answer. Good morning, everybody. Hi, Natalie. Hey, Jeremy. Glad you're on. Hi, Ashley from Iowa. So cool. We got Oregon, New York. I have family in Oregon, so that's awesome. Okay, and then one last thing to remember is that we do have the super chat and super stickers. If you've been around, you've heard me talk about it. It's a really cool feature on these live streams where you can make a donation to the channel. It could be as small or as big as you want. It could be $2, whatever you want. But if you make a donation, that helps us to continue being able to offer you guys all of this information for free. Y'all know we don't like to charge for anything. We don't have a course that we charge for. I just like to give you guys this information for free because I wish somebody had done that for me in the beginning. It would have really helped. So we never ask you guys for money on this channel, but if you want to say thank you, if you want to make a donation to help us continue doing this, you can definitely do that by the super chat and super sticker. So you should see it somewhere around your little window that you're watching right now. And when you do that, it actually pops up on the comments. It'll be like a bold color and it'll be bright so I can see if you gave a super chat or a super sticker. And along with that, if you have a question that I haven't gotten to yet, I will gladly, if you give a super chat or a super sticker, I will answer that right away. And you'll kind of like hop to the top of the list so we can make sure to get your question or your comment answered. All right, well, hi Brianna, hi ST. We got Stitch and Heat Designs. That's a cool name. Hey Mary. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and hop in first to our shop review. So if you don't know yet about our Facebook group, we have a Facebook community group page. You should definitely, after this, hop over and join over there. It's a great page where we're all just interacting and y'all are able to ask questions to each other. And I'm chiming in a little bit as much as I can to answer questions. And it's just a really great community to be able to share advice about Etsy and small business and what has worked for us personally, what hasn't worked. So hop over there when we're done with this. But our shop review today is coming from a member of our Facebook group over there, Jeremy. So he's on, and we are going to be reviewing his shop, which is called Pandemic Lumber. So hold on one second and let me share my screen here. I had some issues before with sharing the screen. So if for some reason while I'm doing this, if y'all can't see what I'm clicking on, definitely let me know. But I think I figured it out, so it shouldn't have issues this time. So we're gonna hop over here to Jeremy's shop. Hold on just a second. This is Pandemic Lumber. Okay, so hopefully y'all can see that. Okay, so this is Jeremy's shop, Pandemic Lumber. And we're just going to go through his shop. I'm going to mention some things I think he's done well, some things he could improve on, and just some overall comments on the shop. So let's start with the name, because I think this name, Pandemic Lumber, is very interesting. And the logo, I actually messaged Jeremy to ask about what this logo means to get his take on it. So it was very interesting, the story. But I think it's interesting. You could probably tell by the name, like what this shop is all about and how it came about in the beginning. So we see wood and personalized gifts to make your house a home. So Jeremy shared, I'm not going to share the whole story, but he shared a little bit about how he and his friend Kyle started this shop. I believe it was last year. I'm not sure when, but basically when the pandemic hit. And so they were trying something new and came up with this shop. So I think that's a really creative, great name. And it's really clear. You can kind of tell what it's all about, how it started, what they're gonna be selling wood things. Very clear. I think also my first impression of the shop page is that it's very cohesive feeling. It's very professional feeling. You have a good full page of listings, so it doesn't feel like incomplete with only a couple listings. You have a nice full page here. And all of the style of all the photos really seems to go together well, even though they're varying in angles and backgrounds a little bit, and the way that they're staged. It's all cohesive. It doesn't feel like different styles thrown together, which is really what our goal is, for our shop to feel really cohesive and kind of put together all as one picture, if that makes sense. I love that the photos are really clear and crisp. I think that most, if not all, of these photos are just really good quality. I love the way that they're staged, and we'll talk more about the specific photography style in just a minute. But overall, when I look at this front page, the photos they seem really good quality. Also, the products seem very trendy. So that is one thing you guys hear me talk about a lot, is just when we're choosing our products, we want to make sure that we're choosing products that are trending, that are popular in the current time, because every product has a peak. So it will, it'll be growing, 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 and then it'll hit a peak when it's super popular. And then after that, it kind of goes on a decline, and eventually it's not popular anymore and something else has come in style. So we want to make sure when we're choosing products that we are choosing things that are going to be popular in the current time and they're not outdated. So I think Jeremy has done a really great job of choosing styles and designs and even materials that would sell well right now in this current time. Okay, so let's move on to branding. That's one thing that's easy to look at on this front page. So branding is anything basically that consists of your shop name, your logo, your tagline, your brand as a whole, the feel that you get when you look at someone's pictures. Does it all go together? What kind of emotion does it draw out when you're looking at it? What does it make you feel? All of that, all the graphics that go along with your business. So like I mentioned before, he has a great logo right here that's not only really catchy and cool looking, but it's also meaningful. So it goes along with the name Pandemic Lumber. This is the biohazard sign for coronavirus. And then we have the saw blade, which goes along with the woodworking, which is really neat. So I think logo is a really great start. We're missing the banner up here. So I would say there needs to be a banner at the top. And that's just kind of like the cover photo or image that goes at the top here across. So you want to make sure you have a banner up there. It can either be something really simple, just with like a graphic design that goes along with your branding and your name and your tagline, or it can be, some people will put together like several different images in the banner that are like kind of a collage of your products. So it can be really anything, but I would suggest, if you're kind of stuck on what your banner should be, go look at some other shops on Etsy that are successful and see what they've done for their banner and get some inspiration there. Also, going back to this tagline, wood and personalized gifts to make your house a home. I think that's a really great tagline. You want your tagline to be simple and short enough to where it's not like taking forever to read, but you also want it to be very specific and clear. So when someone reads it, they know exactly what type of products you're offering. And I love this ending part right here, to make your house a home, because that is the descriptive element that makes the buyer feel some sort of emotion. So it's not just this cold, like wood and lumber, it's gifts to make your house a home. When we read that, we think, oh man, that's exactly what I need for my house. I need it to feel like a home. So I love that you have, Jeremy, that you incorporated that little bit right there to make it really warm and friendly feeling. And that is, that's kind of that descriptive part that draws out a little bit of emotion, which is great. Okay, so now we're going to talk about, we already said the photo style. We're going to talk about that specifically when we click on a few of these listings. The only other thing as far as the branding that I would suggest is maybe right here in this corner where the name is and the contact. I think that right here you can have actually a photo. So I would suggest, instead of just having the logo here, that maybe you upload a photo, an actual photo, either of Jeremy and Kyle together, who are both of the owners of this business, or it could just be one of them and their family. But people like to see the faces that are behind the business. And even if it's just this little spot right here, I think it helps for people to be able to see, oh, there's real people behind this business. This is them. And they like to be able to feel that personal connection with you. So that's just one thing to think of. So now we're going to move on to the shop setup. So this is everything when you're setting up your shop, that you want to have all of the different sections available, filled out with your information. So first we're going to scroll all the way down, because this is where you're going to see this information is down at the bottom. Past the reviews. Okay, so we have the about section here, which is about Pandemic Lumber. And we have a good little about section. So we have, welcome to Pandemic Lumber. At height of the pandemic, we were told by our employers we were likely going to be laid off. We looked at this as an opportunity, and Pandemic Lumber was born. We make natural wood products, cutting boards, coasters, and more to make your house a home. And then we have the Facebook link. So this is a really great start for the about section. It's good that it's filled out in general, because a lot of people just think it's not important and they don't even have this about section filled out. So you definitely want to have this filled out. I love the clarity of this. You tell exactly how it started, the inspiration for it. I would add the word "the" right here at the height of the pandemic. And then it's great to have your Facebook link too. So the thing I would say about this is maybe to add a couple things. That's a great start. Remember, you want to have some of your keywords and your keyword phrases from your SEO in this about section, because that's part of your SEO as well. It's not just your titles and your tags, but it's also this about section. So you do already have some cutting boards, coasters, wood products. Those are great keywords that you've included, but I would think about how to maybe include a few more of the main keywords that you're going for your SEO. And remember, we don't want to just keyword stuff like I've talked about before. We want to continue it being conversational, which it already is. Just continue that being really conversational and descriptive. And we're not just like listing the keywords, but we're figuring out a way to sort of fit them in with the natural flow of the paragraph, if that makes sense. You already have your social media. I was going to mention this is a great place to put your social media handles. Also a great place to put a link for your email list if you have that to sign up. Pretty much this is a great place for anything that you want to lead your customers to stay connected with you. This is a great place for that. And then the last thing is, this is also a great place for talking a little bit more about your process of production. So if you want to mention if you work with a laser cutter, or if you work with some kind of engraving, or like the specific thing that you do here, sometimes people like to have a little bit of information about your process. So I wouldn't go on and on in this section. You don't want it like to drag on, but maybe a short little couple sentences about your process would be really cool there too. All right, moving on to shop policies. This is great. This is filled out. We like this. We like everything being filled out for sure. So we have shipping. I'm not going to go through all of these specifically, but you want everything filled out to be as clear and understandable as possible. So I think Jeremy's done a great job with making these short and simple and clear, talking about returns and exchanges. One thing I will say about returns and exchanges is that it's great to have some kind of flexibility with the buyer if they, for some reason, don't like what they've bought, or if it's damaged for sure when they get it. It's up to you how you want to create these policies, but I wouldn't just say like, I don't accept returns, I don't accept cancellations, like I don't accept anything, because that's going to turn off the buyer. They want to know that you're going to be willing to work with them if something happens, just like you would. If you were buying something, you want to feel that safety of the fact that the seller is going to be reasonable. This is not meaning that you have to accept every return and pay for every single thing. You can definitely use your own discretion there, but I would be willing to work a little bit with people on that. And just along those lines, I think Jeremy, this is a good way to do it. So he accepts returns and exchanges. He has certain days. So you want to define the parameters. And then I don't accept cancellations, but please contact me if you have any problems with your order. So that's fine. This little line right here tells me he's reasonable. He's going to work with me if there's anything crazy that happens. So good. And then we have frequently asked questions down here. So great job on the shop sections. And now the last thing we'll look at here is these reviews. We have a good start on reviews here. We have 8 reviews. It looks like they're all 5-star. Let's see. Yay, all 5-star reviews. Awesome, Jeremy. Okay, so we definitely want to do whatever you can to encourage people to leave your reviews. This is your social proof. 5 stars is the proof that people have bought from this shop, that they like what they purchased, and that if I'm a buyer, I feel super safe buying from this shop. All right, now we're going to go to some specific listings. We're going to look at the product type and also the photography and the SEO. So we are going to, let's see, I have two different ones we're going to look at. So the first one is going to be this cutting board right here, and I'm going to switch over. I'm going to have to switch my page, so just bear with me for a second. Okay, cutting board. All right, here it is. Okay, hold on. Sorry. Okay, this is it. So here's the cutting board. We're going to look first at the fact that it's offering free shipping is amazing. I'll go back to the main page and see if all of them are free shipping, but I know this one is. So like I talk about all the time, you want to offer free shipping if it's possible. And in doing so, you can build that cost into whatever you're charging for the price. But just the buyer seeing that free shipping is available is a huge plus. And not only that, but it also helps boost your shop in Etsy's algorithm. All right, so we're looking at this first listing. The first thing we're going to look at is just my kind of first impression of this listing. So I think, like I mentioned before, the photos are great. Let's just scroll through and see these photos. Nice and clear. They've got a few little staging items, some food on there for the cutting board, some lemons and a knife. I love the different staging in the lifestyle pictures. And then we have one just plain one, some up close. So overall, I see I think you've used all of your photo slots, which is great. We want to for sure use all the slots available for photos if possible. And I think that most of these photos, I mean, all of them, they're all kind of in the similar style, but they're all just like really clear and crisp and good quality. I would say that, so here's the main first photo, and then the next photo you click on, this is probably the blurriest one. I still think it's a good photo, but like when you look at what's written here in the engraving, it's a little tiny bit blurry. So instead of having this one as the second photo, I would maybe have one of these, like maybe this one. See how that one is a little more crisp and clear as the second photo. So some people just don't scroll through all of them. They're only going to look at the first couple. So you want to make sure to put your best foot forward when it comes to the first few listing photos. So I would consider switching that up a little bit. And then I would also consider maybe a goal of having some model or lifestyle pictures to add. So maybe someone actually using the cutting board. You can see them in their kitchen cutting on it with a knife or something, you know, like somebody actually using it. It might be a little tricky with a cutting board to figure out how to, like what angle to get that from, but I think you could if you play around with it enough. And again, that's just a goal. That doesn't have to absolutely have to be on here. But if you're able to take some more photos, I would say maybe that could be a good thing to add to the photos. All right, let's look at the SEO for this. So if you're not familiar, SEO is search engine optimization. And that's the way that we are titling the listings, we're tagging them, we're writing descriptions, all of the keywords we're using that Etsy, when somebody searches in the search bar, the Etsy goes through all the listings and pulls up in the results, the listings that best match their search query. So we want to make sure we're using the right keywords and phrases in each listing to have the best shot of being pulled up in the results and shown to the buyer when someone searches. So the first thing we're going to look at is the title right here. So this says engraved cutting board, teak board, or personalized cutting board. Great as a wedding gift or realtor closing gift. Okay, so there are a lot of good keywords in here, but I do think it could be changed up just a little bit to be optimized a little better. The way that I suggest, which again, I'm going to just say that there's a lot of different opinions on this if you listen to other Etsy coaches, but my opinion is that you should have different keyword phrases that are each separated by either a dash like this or a line up and down or a slash or something that separates them. And you want to do some research on what good keyword phrases are. Instead of just guessing, you want to do some research. So to me, the best two ways to research this are either to use a program like eRank or Marmalade, or if you don't want to pay for something like that, you can always just go up here to the search bar on Etsy and just kind of see what the suggested results that pop up are when you start typing in a keyword phrase, if that makes sense. And that's probably the way that I do it that's quickest and easiest, just when you're starting. So for this one specifically, I would just do some research here in the search bar. Let's type in cutting. So we're thinking about a cutting board. So I just typed in cutting. The first thing that is suggested is cutting board personalized. Let's come over here and see if it has that. We have personalized cutting board, but we don't have cutting board personalized. So you might want to consider that phrase. Then we have just cutting board. Several different variations, okay? So you want to look through here, but the ones that are up at the top are the most popular and the most searched. Let's try typing in personalized. Okay, so the first thing that pops up is personalized gifts for dad, personalized gifts. Both of those could apply. Obviously, it's not a necklace, so we're not going to use that. Personalized gifts for dad, Father's Day, that could work, especially if it's near Father's Day. Personalized gifts for dad from daughter. So you just have to kind of go through these and see, like personalized gifts for men, that could work, or even for women, it could be either. Just see which ones are suggested. Okay, let's try one more because this title already mentions a wedding gift. So I'm going to just type in wedding. So we have wedding gifts, wedding favors, maybe. I don't know that you would give that for a favor, but you could definitely do wedding gifts. And then let's type in maybe personalized. So when I try to do personalized cutting board, nothing comes up. So that's maybe telling me that that phrase is not searched that much. So hopefully you get an idea of how I'm doing this. You could just kind of go on and on trying different words up here and seeing what pops up. But then I would edit this title to reflect that. So instead of it being like the word or, no one's probably going to type this in, teak board or personalized cutting board. They're probably not going to type that exact phrase in. A lot of people may not even know that it's called teak. So you have to think about, I mean, some people may specifically know they want exactly that type, but think about somebody that maybe doesn't even know much about the wood type or anything. And all they know is like, I want a cutting board with a name on it. So you could even say, I mean, personalized is good. You could say custom, you could say last name cutting board or things like that. Think of what people would type if they don't quite know yet what they want, if that makes sense. And then you're gonna, again, wanna separate that with either a dash or a line or something in between. Okay, so let's come down here and see the description. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but he has a really nice, good description here. I love that it starts with like a nice, welcoming, flowy kind of descriptive thing. An engraved cutting board is the perfect, unforgettable gift for weddings, anniversaries, Mother's Day, Father's Day, or a housewarming party. So it doesn't go straight into this, right? The first line is not, this teak cutting board measures approximately this by this. That's needed information, but we want the first little bit to catch the buyer's attention, to be descriptive, and to almost give a feel of like, if you get this product, if you buy this item, this is what's going to happen, and kind of paint a picture of the experience they're going to have and the positive of why they need this item. And then you go into, of course, your measurements, your specifics about it. They need to know that as well, the material that it's made out of. I love that you have a little bit about the process of how you cut and sand everything. And then also, this is great for ordering instructions. I definitely recommend a little bit on this. If you have a personalized or a customized item, you need to make sure to have very clear instructions on how they tell you what they want on it for sure. And this is also a great section, like looking for a gift set. And then you have all these different links to some of your other listings. So maybe they found this listing and they like it, but it's not quite what they want. Maybe they want a whole gift set, or they want a coaster that's in a similar style. So it's great to have a few listings to lead them to something else in your shop if possible. So this is a really solid description. I would just make sure, I haven't looked specifically to see if the keywords match, but I would just make sure that you're using the same keyword phrases in your description as you are in your tags and your title. Okay. One thing I would say for the listing is I don't see, here's the personalization section, but I don't see any like variations available. So you can have 2 drop-down menus with different variations if you want. I would consider even just one, thinking of a variation that you could offer. It just helps for people to feel like they're getting to customize and choose kind of, they're not making a completely custom item, but they're able to choose something to sort of customize it even more. So that could be like for this cutting board, that could be like the stain color or maybe the font that this is written in or something that they could have a couple of options to choose from. Again, that's not necessary. That's totally optional, but sometimes it does make the difference for people. If they've narrowed it down between this one and one other one, they may go with the one that they're able to choose the font because they like a different font or something. So that's just one thing to think about with that. And then the last thing I wanted to mention here with this listing is the price. So we have $49.99. I would consider maybe making it a whole, like an even number, or it can be even or odd. I like even numbers. But the 99, I've heard people say before sometimes that makes it feel like a store, like Walmart or something. You know, it's like, it almost feels a little like low quality when you price it like that. That's totally a personal opinion for, that's not really a huge thing. But I would just mention that if you wanted to like make everything across the board, I think you had some other items in your shop that were just like whole even numbers. So I would go with one or the other and make it the same across your whole shop. All right, so now we're going to look at our second listing here. I'm going to just check my comments everywhere, make sure I'm not missing anybody. Hey guys, so glad everyone's on. Just if you joined recently and you didn't hear me in the beginning, I'm going through our shop review right now. And then after we're done, I'm going to answer any questions y'all have. So if you're typing in your questions, make sure to put your 4 question marks before the question, and that'll help me in just a second when I hop back over to see all these questions, and I'll know which ones to answer. Okay, so we're going to look at one more listing on Jeremy's shop over here. Let me share this. Okay, so we're going to look at this coaster set, the State of Nevada corkboard coasters. Okay, so the first thing I notice when we look at this is as far as the product itself, these seem super trendy. These designs are definitely current looking. They're not outdated, or, I think these are designs that definitely would sell well. So I think this is a great set overall. Let's look at the photos. So here's the main one, and then we have 2 more. That's a different angle, and then a close-up of one of them. So there's 3 photos. I would say make sure on this one, if you can, to take a few more and have as many photos as you can. Like I said before, it's great to use all 10 of your available photo slots if possible. But even just a few more would be great. I love the background here that Jeremy has used. It's a really great, like, this wood grain texture gives me a really trendy kind of feel that's definitely in style right now, and it's not distracting. So it's a great example of having a background that's not just plain white. Sometimes we want something besides just the plain white, but so it has some texture to it, but it's trendy looking and it's not distracting. We don't want like a bright orange, paisley something back there. So wood grain, a really light gray color, a light brown is a really nice background for this. One thing I will mention about the lighting here. So it looks to me like this is in really good natural lighting. The lighting does seem a little cool. So if you're not familiar with photography, when you have a photo, you can kind of be more on the cool, like a cool shade of light or a warm shade of light. And that's just like a color balance thing. So if you were choosing more of a cool feel or a warm feel, I would say I always tend to go more of a cool feel because that feels a little more modern to me. but sometimes it can be a little too cool. So this seems a little almost too cool for me. When I say cool, it's those shades are more of like a blue, like the cool shades, like blue. It has like a little bit of a blue hue to it. And then the warm shades are more of like an orange yellow kind of hue. So with the cool, I would say to stick to a cooler shade for your lighting, but this may be a little too much. So you may want to just edit these photos a little bit to give them a little more warmth, if that makes sense. And so you can research how to do that if you're not super familiar with editing photos, but it's really easy to just go into any kind of editing software. I use Photoshop, and so in mine, it's just like the color balance. You go in there and you can adjust it to be a little warmer, a little cooler, whatever you want, and it'll change the lighting a little bit. So I would say for this, stick with the cool. I think it looks nice compared, you don't want it to be like orange, but at the same time, maybe just warm it up a little tiny bit. And then I would say too, for the main photo, for this main photo right here, I would, if it was me personally, this is again just a style thing, I would bring the coasters a little closer together to the center. Of course, you still want some space between them. You don't want them touching, but I would bring them, they seem a little far apart right now. So I would bring them together a little bit and then even put this leaf over to this corner, like have it kind of coming down the side. Again, that's just a personal style thing. You can definitely do it however you want, but I think that would look nice if you kind of brought them in. And even if you brought them in a little bit, you could have a little bit of a closer in image for, you know, when it's just showing up on the results page and people are comparing it and all those little thumbnails, you know, when it's a smaller picture, you want to make sure that they're able to see it really well. So that would provide you with some space to kind of crop it in a little bit, if that makes sense. And then I love this individual picture of this one. I would do that for all of them. So take a picture, an individual picture of each one. And you could even have them, a couple of photos with them staged different ways. Again, you could have some model photos of people actually using them, some lifestyle pictures of them being used in real life, in a real home, if that makes sense. All right, so now let's move to the SEO here. So we're going to look at the title again. So this is our title, State of Nevada Corkboard Coasters for the Work from Home Office, Kitchen or Living Room. Home means Nevada with these personalized coasters. All right, so for this title, we're going to do the same thing to figure out what would be some good keyword phrases to look for. So first, I think I'm going to type in, well, that's good. We had work from home. Let's look at that. So if we type in work from home, we see that come up. We also see work from home gifts. I don't see like anything that says anything about coasters, but you could incorporate this work from home mug coasters or something like that. Work from home desk coasters, that would go. Let's try, let's see what comes up when we do coasters. So we have coasters, coasters personalized, coaster set. You could work with any of those. I would probably take out this part. You have for the work from home, office, kitchen, or living room. I don't think anyone's going to type that exact phrase in because they're probably already looking for one or the other. So they're not going to type in home office, kitchen, or living room. So I would take that out and I would focus on the coasters and on, I mean, work from home is a good phrase to have in there. But you want to just take out any unnecessary words, like even this with right here. Home means Nevada with these personalized coasters. So home means Nevada is a good phrase. Let's type that in and see. Home means, yeah, so there it is. So we know that's a good phrase to use, but no one's probably going to type in this whole thing. Home means Nevada with these personalized coasters. They're not thinking in those terms. They would more likely type in home means Nevada coasters. Does that make sense? Or home means Nevada decor or something like that. So think in the mind of the buyer, like if you were in the buyer's position, how you would type in a keyword phrase, if that makes sense. And then make sure that you're using your same keywords that you decide on for your title in your description and your tags as well. Again, the description is really solid. I love, we already talked about this, is the same thing here. Does home mean Nevada to you? bring Nevada to your home with these cork coasters with 4 individual unique designs. So I love this first. That's a great kind of hook in the beginning there. We have all the information necessary. Again, all of this is really great for the description. So yeah, and then we have free shipping here too. I'm pretty sure you offered free shipping across the board, which is great if you can do that. So yeah, this is a really solid listing as well. I think you could just level up a little bit with the photography, just adding in some different types of photos, and then change this title up just a little bit, but really solid overall. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing that. And then I just have a couple of last comments about the shop, and then we will get to the questions. So like I mentioned in the beginning, you want to think about how to integrate an email list, sign up, or social media handles somewhere in your shop. So I did see, Jeremy, you had your Facebook link in the, I think it was in the About section at the bottom. So that's a great start. You can also incorporate it. I've seen it, people do it on their banners across the top. They'll have it written in text, you know, like 30, sign up for our email newsletter, 30% off code, or whatever it is, or even just like find us on Facebook here, find us on Instagram here. You want to make sure, if y'all saw my most recent video that I put out about bringing back return customers, that's a super important thing to kind of have in mind. We're thinking long-term and not just about making this sale, but how can I bring this buyer in to connect with me for the long term so that they will be returning and making more purchases in the future. So that's one great way from the beginning to make it very clear, like, hey, connect with us here on social media, sign up for our email newsletter, and give them a freebie or an incentive to sign up for your newsletter. So that way you're not just like the customer purchases one thing and they're done and you've lost them forever. You know, you want to think of ways that you can sort of like draw them in to connect with you, build that personal relationship so that they want to come back next time they're looking for something again. Again, I mentioned adding the variations if possible. I think that's a great thing to have on as many of your listings as possible. So whatever variations you can think to offer, whether it be a certain color of things, a font, a size variation, a material variation. There's so many different things you can offer people, but I really encourage that because that makes people feel like they have a part to play in making it like exactly what they want. One other thing to remember with your SEO and your tags and your titles is that you can switch it up according to whatever holiday or season is coming up. So you want to make sure that you're every now and then like looking at your tags and your titles and switching them up. So especially if you're in a gifting niche, which Jeremy is, obviously he has really great gifting items. So you want to make sure that your tags and your titles and all of your SEO reflects whatever holiday is upcoming, especially Christmas, especially Mother's Day and Father's Day. A lot of times like teacher appreciation is big at the end of the school year. Think about things like that people are going to be buying gifting items for and put that in your tags and titles. So around Christmas, you could put Christmas gift for dad or Christmas gift for grandparents or, you know, Mother's Day gift or whatever it may be. You can always switch you can be switching around your SEO as much as you want to reflect those things. And then I would try just to get a few more listings up. I think that you have a great like first page. So I would never encourage anyone to like wait on launching their shop if they didn't have like 50 listings or something. I've heard people say that, and I don't really agree with that method. But I also think the more listings you have, the more full your shop seems, the more established it seems, and the more opportunities you have to get your listings in front of people. It's just that simple. So just continue adding listings as much as you can. I would not add them at the sacrifice of like them being poor listings. I would make sure only to add things that are good quality, that are ready to be published, that you have good photos of. But yeah, I would just continue to add and try to get at least a couple like full pages of listings, which would be like ideal. That's kind of the goal. And then the last thing I want to mention, Jeremy, about your shop is I was reading through I should have read it on the reviews. I read it earlier on one of your reviews, and somebody said that you sent it with like a little wooden tag that stated the name of whoever it was that designed or cut the product that they bought. And I was just like amazed. I think that is an awesome little add-on. I would encourage anybody to think of what they can do to give it that personal touch when you're shipping something. That goes I mean, so far, at least for me, when I buy something, I love those little personal extra touches that come with it. And a lot of times that's why people want to purchase on Etsy, because a lot of, they know it's handmade. They know it's a real person behind the product, and they want to have that like personal connection and personal touch with the product. So I thought that was awesome, Jeremy. I think that is like really a great idea. Continue doing that. Anything you can do to make it personal, for sure. Okay, so I'm going to hop over here to the comments. I have not been looking at the comments. Sorry, y'all. I do see Jeremy says, I'll forgive you for pronouncing Nevada wrong. How do I pronounce it? Nevada? Or y'all tell me how you pronounce Nevada. Nevada? I don't know what the correct way is. Okay. Let's come back over here. All right, if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in. I'm going to start answering your questions. I will get to as many as possible. Remember, if you give a super chat or a super sticker, I will hop to yours first and answer yours first. Okay, we have, can you please review my shop? So if you're interested in having your shop reviewed on one of these live streams, you can either email me at katehayes.co@gmail.com. I'll type that in the comments. katehayes.co@gmail.com. Or you can hop over and join our Facebook community group, which I will post a link to that as well in the description when I'm done with this. But you can hop over there, and I usually I'll post something asking for people to post their links, if they want to be considered for a shop review. So I'll choose one or two each time to do. And we also do shop shout outs on each of our videos that we put out. So make sure to comment with a link. On any of our videos, you can comment with a link to your shop, and I will look at as many as possible. And I choose from those comments each time a shop to shout out in the front at the beginning of our video. Okay. How do you find the shop policies again? I did them at the beginning and could never find them again. If you want to edit them, I guess. So when you go on Etsy, you should be able to, well, I don't have it pulled up right now, but you go to your dashboard on Etsy, and I think it's under settings. I'll look again, Jeremy, after I get done with this live stream, and I can let you know. I think it's under settings, maybe about. I haven't done it in a while. I haven't edited mine in a while, so I'll have to go look and see exactly where to find those. But I know it's somewhere on that dashboard over there. Hi, Shannon from California. So glad you could join us. We have, someone from Amsterdam. Awesome. Thanks for joining us. Okay, I'm struggling to get reviews. I have a mental letterbox gift. Mental letterbox. I'm not sure what that means. Oh, wait, here's another comment. Okay. I have a letterbox gift shop with a mental health well-being focus. Okay. I have trouble getting reviews, I think because items are sent to recipients as gifts, and thought on how to get reviews. I'm now sending emails to the purchasers, offering discounts on their next purchase and asking for reviews, but they never get the actual product, so they can only review the process of purchasing. Okay, yeah, that's a little bit more tricky. If you have something it's being purchased and it's not being sent to the person that purchased it, they may not think a lot of times to leave a review on it. It's great that you're sending emails offering the discounts. There's a lot of things like that you can kind of do right after, and even a little bit further down the road after they have bought something, to sort of be friendly and remind them. You never want to spam people, with reminders about that kind of stuff, because that can get really frustrating if you're sending messages over and over again. But you can do you can set up a little coupon to be sent out right after they make the purchase. They'll get an email with the confirmation, and then you can set it up with a little message in there that has the coupon code for them to use on a future purchase if they leave a review, just encouraging them to leave a review. You never want to be bribing someone to leave a review. you could definitely get in trouble if you're going down that road, but you can encourage them to leave a review just in a friendly way, and then give them the coupon code. So you're not guaranteed that they're going to leave a review, but they might be more likely to if you've given them a coupon code just as a thank you. And then you're just saying, hey, I would really appreciate it if you would go leave me some feedback. You can do that. I've heard of people doing like review raffles, and so they'll choose every like quarter or something, they'll choose someone from the people that have left reviews to sort of like send a freebie to or something like that. So there's different ways you can get creative with encouraging people to leave reviews. Do as much as possible to encourage that without being bribing or being, like spammy about it. Can always message them like right after you see that the product has been delivered and say something like, hey, I just saw that your product was delivered to your friend or whoever it was, that they sent it to, and say, just wanted to check in and make sure that they were pleased with it and that they enjoyed what they received. And if so, I would really appreciate it if you could leave me some feedback and give them the link, So anything you can think of to just sort of mention it again afterward. Okay. I'm on Etsy for about 7 years now and have no sales. So if you've been on Etsy for that long and don't have any sales, you really need to be objective at looking at your shop and maybe thinking, should I make a change somewhere? Maybe even pivoting the kind of product. I'm not sure what kind of products you sell, but something about it is not working. So there are times in your Etsy shop journey that you have to just be really objective and make the hard decisions. It's sometimes when you've poured so much into it over so many years, it can be hard to want to let something go or make a big change. But obviously, if something's not working, you need to really think about what sort of big change you could make. Maybe even just pivoting your whole niche. Some people have to do that sometimes. So yeah, I would just try to be very objective about your shop and what you can change, and also bring in people that can give you feedback, because sometimes it can be hard for us. It's so personal for us. It can be hard to see, from our perspective. It helps to bring people in and get a third party perspective. All right. Okay, so I say Nevada like you're out west with that Nevada twang. It's hard when I can't hear it. I don't know what Nevada twang sounds like. Okay. We have below the shop story. You mentioned at the beginning that you added information for an email list. Is that a link to a website, or how do you find a way to get them to sign up for an email list? So yeah, when you create an email list, there's a lot of different platforms you can use. You create your email list, and then you can have a landing page that's basically a sign up page for them, where they can click on the link. It'll take them to the landing page, and they enter your sign up sheet that way. So you can choose when you're setting it up what information you want on that page. Could just be like their name and their email. You can ask for more information, but basically you have to set all that up, on the platform that you're using. There are free platforms and paid platforms for email lists. And then you would post that link for them to click through. And then sometimes, depending on the platform, once they sign up, you can set it up to automatically email them the coupon code or the incentive, whatever it is that you've promised as like the freebie incentive. You can set it up to automatically send to them once they submit their sign up for the email list, if that makes sense. I hope that's answering your question. Yeah, so you can search. There's a lot of different email providers that do things like that. If you want one that's just a basic free one, you could search that, like free email providers or like business email providers or like free plans, and then if you want something that's a little more, you want more capabilities with your email list, there's a lot of different like things that you can do with an email list that come with like a paid plan. So you kind of have to decide if you're like really limited budget, you just need a basic free plan, that's totally fine. but some you can kind of level up a little bit and pay a little bit monthly, and you can have more options with your email list. Okay, so I have some questions on how to increase sales on Etsy. So I have a lot of videos, Venus, in my Etsy playlist. So once we're done here, definitely hop over to the channel and click on that Etsy playlist. I have a lot of videos talking about how to increase your sales, different ideas and methods and strategies that have worked for me over the last years in increasing sales. So there's a lot of strategies over there. I would recommend like just watching through that whole playlist for sure. Okay. Okay, Patricia asks, I tried to find the most relevant titles for my product in Etsy and have matched them with my tags too, but I still have no views for that product. What could I be doing wrong? So if you're having no views, I think it would be a little bit different if you had some views, but you just weren't making sales. But I think what you're saying is you still have no views, so people aren't even seeing it. So really all you can do is like you're trying to think of the SEO. So you're trying to think of your keyword phrases. Sometimes it's hard to know until you try a few of those phrases. And if what you've put in seems to still not be working, I would just continue changing those phrases out for different ones until you find something that seems to be getting a little more traction. And another thing you can do too is remember when Etsy's algorithm is ranking you, a lot of it's not just SEO, but it's also there's 7 different categories. And if you're not sure what those are, I have a video on SEO specifically on the channel. You can watch that. But there's seven different categories that Etsy uses for ranking purposes. So it may not be that that Etsy's not catching your listing, that you have the right SEO, but you're being ranked way back, like on page 50 or something. You want to be ranked on page 1 or 2 if possible. So a lot of times that comes down to like how many sales this listing has made. If you don't have any sales on a listing yet, it's probably not going to be boosted up very high. So that's why I talk a lot about what you can do to sort of get the momentum and the ball rolling on your listings to get those first few sales on it. Because once you get a few sales, it automatically sort of like boosts it. I'm not saying it boosts it to the first page, but it will definitely help that listing to be seen sooner in the results. The more the more sales that listing is getting and the more consistent the sales on that listing is, like if it's making a sale every couple days and it's very consistent, then Etsy will see that and it'll boost it a little bit higher. So it may just be that you're so far back, you're not getting found. And so I would suggest for you to do everything you can to spread the word about your shop, pick a few listings that you really want to boost and maybe do like a discount on those listings. Maybe offer a sale for a certain amount of time. And if you have an audience on social media or an email list or whatever you can think of to like external sources to kind of like get the word out externally and bring people into your listing and incentivize them to make the purchase. Because really all you're trying to do in the beginning is like make the sale. You need a couple sales, on a new listing to boost it, or it's just going to get lost. You can also run Etsy ads. Sometimes that works for people, sometimes it doesn't. We've had kind of mixed results with Etsy ads. But it can't ever hurt to try it if you have the budget. Like if we do like $2 a day sometimes, I wouldn't throw your whole budget at Etsy ads. I would be reasonable about it and balanced about it and try it with like a small budget and just see if you get any results from that as well. Do you use Etsy ads now, or did you ever use them at the beginning? So the Etsy ads, I don't really know if they were around in the beginning of when I started in 2015, and maybe they were, but I don't remember really knowing about them for a long time. We do use them now, but it's not really all the time. We use them at strategic points in the year. So usually we don't have any trouble making sales like at Christmas, or Christmas and Mother's Day are like our 2 biggest seasons usually. So we don't really need the ads at that point because the sales are sort of organically coming in a lot. But we do use the Etsy ads in our in the off season when we need a little help to like be getting it in front of people. We'll use a little bit, but we don't really depend a lot on Etsy ads. It's kind of something in the background that like I have going sometimes to sort of try to help, but it's not like the main thing I depend on to bring in traffic. Okay, let's see. Oh, we have a a super chat from Jeremy. Thank you, Jeremy. Oh wow, thank you. That that is so helpful and makes my day. Thank you for all the helpful information and breaking everything down. It's so helpful. Thank you, Jeremy. Yay! That makes my day. I'm so happy to help. I really do hope that advice is good for your shop and that it helps you to level up, and can't wait to see where you go with your shop. I really think that you have a great start. And let me know if you have any other questions you want me to answer. Let me just scroll down and make sure that you didn't have any other ones. Oh wait, here's another one. Okay. So Jeremy says, I know Etsy is also really big on videos right now. Any ideas on making a video of things like a sign on the wall, coaster, a YouTube tutorial showing the process of videos, vids would be awesome. That's a great point, and I meant to mention that too. So that's a relatively new thing. I don't know, maybe a year or so. I don't know how long that video has been an option, but there is now an option to do a video on your Etsy listings, like right after the photos. So a video is a great thing if you have the capability to take it even on your smartphone, or if you have a camera to put together a video. I've seen different like styles that people have done it. So some people just will show that like one product and like just take a video like scanning it, you know, showing it from different angles, or things like one kind of continuous shot, and it'll just be like a couple seconds long. Some people kind of have like they'll have a video with different photos put together, or different like short little clips of their process of making it. Like there was one shop that was a wood sign shop, and they showed different clips from the beginning of the end of the process. So they had like the first part of like the lumber being cut down, and then they had the sanding and the cutting, and then they had it being like nailed together, and then they had the painting, and then the design being put on and everything. So there's a lot of different ways you can do it. And some people have just one video like that one. I think that they had across the board, that was sort of like a shop video more so than a listing video, because it wasn't specific for one listing, but it showed their whole process. So that's kind of cool if people want to see the process that goes into it, and they had that same video on every single listing. Or you can make it more about the listing itself and show that specific item. So it kind of just depends. I would say if you don't have the capacity right now to like the time, it's going to take some time to like make all those videos. So if you don't have that kind of time or capacity to put into it right now, I would say a great way to start would be make kind of just one video for your shops, showing your process and showing some different products. And then eventually a goal could be to have like, you know, an individual video for each listing, if that makes sense. But I would recommend just kind of like that's what I like to do, is to go on Etsy and just look around at different successful shops. Just click on some of their listings and see the ones that have videos and kind of get some inspiration. You don't want to copy anybody, but you can get inspiration from what people are doing and the styles of their videos and things like that. So I would recommend just kind of looking around and seeing what some successful shops are doing for that. Okay. How long should I wait to see results? So that varies, you know, greatly. For some people, it takes. I think you're talking. I don't know if you're talking about Etsy ads or just in general, like when you start a shop making sales. Just in general, it takes, you know, months sometimes for people to make their first sale. It took me a couple months to make my first sale, and then some people, it's just like, if they got it all together, it could just be quick, you know, so it's different for everybody. But I would say just be patient, especially when you first start. Just because you don't make a sale in the first couple of weeks doesn't mean that you won't be successful. You just keep doing whatever you can to, you know, level up your shop, to improve your listings each day. And like I said, to be doing things externally, whether it be on social media or through an email list or Pinterest or whatever, to drive traffic to your shop and try to get some of that momentum going. Thanks so much. A review raffle sounds like a great idea, and sending an email after delivery is a good shout too. Really appreciate your content. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you're appreciating it. I'm glad that it's helping you. Yeah, I mean, anything you can do to try to encourage feedback is a good thing for sure. Sometimes you have to just get creative too. You know, it's just think of different creative ideas that you can do. Okay. We have any suggestions on how to film my 10 photos for a t-shirt? struggling with this, though I know it's important. So yeah, as much as you can, I suggest to try to fill all 10 photo slots. If you just can't figure out what to come up with for 10 photos, then it is what it is, don't stress about it. But if you can, for t-shirts, I would say you could get like there's a lot of different angles you can do for t-shirts. You could do like a flat lay, which is you're looking straight down on it and it's laying flat, like folded up. Or, some people do different styles. It doesn't have to be folded. It could be just sort of like laying there with like wrinkled up a little bit. It's like, that trendy look of like having a little bit of wrinkle in there. So it just depends on your style, but doing a flat lay is one from overhead. You could also have one on a hanger, like on a wall, and have it hanging on a hanger. You could take it that way from different angles, showing it like straight on and showing it from the left and the right. You can have close-up shots of if there's text or graphics on it, show a close-up shot of the text or the graphic, and then one further away. You can have model pictures. You can like do a ton of different stuff with models, like actual people wearing the shirt, doing different things like lifestyle things. So somebody could be wearing the shirt, drinking some coffee, or running through a field, whatever it might be, like however creative you want to get with it. But model pictures are great for sure for any kind of apparel or jewelry or anything like home related that can be used. So there's a lot that you can do with it. You can also have a photo for like just a promo photo, kind of for like your social media handles or for your email list sign up. I've seen people use one of those photo slots and design like just a graphic image that tells like, find us here on social media and have your handles, and then have your email list sign up there, or have different promotional things. If you're running a sale, like a coupon code or whatever, you can use that on one of those photo slots for that too. Do Pinterest ads help with promoting your product? So I have said before, I don't use Pinterest a ton. I mainly use Pinterest for ideas. I don't promote on Pinterest a lot. So I don't think that I'm probably the most qualified person to speak into Pinterest because I just have like very limited experience with it. But any kind of ads, whatever platform it's on, I would say to research into it a little bit specifically, because the ads work differently with the different algorithms. And so it's good to kind of know if you're going to pay for something, you're going to pay for promotion or marketing with ads, then you want to know kind of what you're putting your money towards. So I can't say a specific yes or no if they help, because I've never actually done Pinterest ads myself. But I do know there's a lot of, you can research that, and there's a lot of information out there about promoting on Pinterest. And I've heard a lot of good things about promoting on Pinterest. I don't know specifically. I haven't researched into their ads that much. So definitely look into that further before you put money in. All right. Okay, so we have, what's your advice for introverts who want to launch an Etsy store without tapping into social media or their personal networks to build an audience from scratch? Appreciate you and thanks. So I'm glad you brought this up, because I'm actually an introvert myself, and I know a lot of introverted people who have done Etsy before. So introverts can do Etsy, I promise you guys. I wouldn't be surprised if the majority of us were introverts, because we want to work from home and like be able to do our own thing at home, right? So it makes sense. But I will say, if you want to be successful, you do have to be able to get out of your comfort zone a little bit, and be okay with putting it out there for even your friends and family to see. So honestly, I don't think there's a way to do it staying completely anonymous, and not letting any of your friends and family know. I think it's just something that you have to sort of push past a little bit and be able to put yourself out there. Not meaning that you have to be constantly like the life of the party with everybody, and your face has to be on every post, and you have to be going live and all the things. But I do think to a certain extent, at least with my experience, friends and family were the ones that helped me get the ball rolling in the beginning. And it was kind of a little bit, it's always a little bit, what's the word? Intimidating maybe, to like start and kind of like throw your personal work out there for the world to see. And especially for your friends and family, the people that know you, that, you're doing life with, to see. But at a certain point, like you really just have to be able to kind of just throw it out there and not worry what people think, because honestly, everybody has different motivations for doing this. If making money and providing for your family and being able to work from home, if that's your motivation and that's a big enough motivation for you, that was a big enough motivation for me to sort of like get past my comfort zone and say like, it's worth it to make this work. So I have to just kind of put it out there. And honestly, I was very surprised with the amount of support and love that I got from people. Like, not the judgment that I felt like was coming. Like a lot of times we can think people are just going to judge us. They're going to think we're stupid. Like, and you may have one or two of those people. I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but I think you'll be surprised when you put it out there people want to support each other, And so, I guess if you're just completely against doing social media, then I would suggest maybe researching Pinterest. I think Pinterest is a way to promote without that kind of personal connection. But again, my whole strategy and the way that I've done it has been through social media and has been through growing an audience on both Facebook, mainly Facebook, a little bit on Instagram, but mainly Facebook. So I can't speak that much into doing it a different way because that's the way that I've done it. That's worked for me. Hopefully that helps. I never want to discourage anybody, but I do think that it would be worth looking into. It may be better than you think it is. And if you look into it, you're like, no, can't do the social media thing, then look into Pinterest, look into an email list. Yeah, that's what I would say. And then, just if you do have a support group around you, whether it be friends or family or your community, people that you do think would support you, that's a great way to sort of like start getting the word out about your shop. Okay, do you do shop reviews? Yes, I do. So if you're interested in the shop review, you can email me. I posted my email earlier in the comments, or you can hop over to our Facebook group and join that community group that we have on Facebook and leave me your link there. I did want to mention just on that note with the Facebook group, because I know a lot of you are part of it and you may be joining it soon. I want it to be a place that we are all, it's like a community, an Etsy sellers community group. So I want us to be able to be there for each other, ask questions, answer each other's questions, and kind of chime in on like what things have worked and advice and things like that. But I also don't want it to become like a spammy place where people are just constantly posting links to their listings and things like that. So when you get on there, I do have a specific like introduction thread on there that you can post your link to your shop and introduce who you are and talk about your shop. And I don't mind even if people every now and then want to post a link to their shop. I just don't want it to be like specific listings that you're trying to promote and we're just getting a lot of spam with those kind of like listing promotions, if that makes sense. I just want it to be kind of a balanced place where we can be a real genuine community for each other. So with that said, if you hop over there, I do have a specific introduction thread and then a specific post I just put up a couple of days ago about leaving your link if you want to be considered for a shop review. So that's where I'll be choosing the shop reviews from in the future. And also make sure to answer those questions when you go to join the Facebook group, because I get a lot of requests for people wanting to join the group that haven't answered those membership questions that it asks you when you ask to join, which are you subscribed to the YouTube channel and have you turn on your notifications on the YouTube channel? Both of those have to be answered some form of yes for me to approve you to be part of the group. So if you haven't been approved, it's probably because of that. You can go back and answer those and I'll approve you. But just make sure that you answer both of those questions when you're joining the group. All right. So we have MailChimp. Yeah, MailChimp is one to build an email list for my day job. I get more sales from that than social media, and I find MailChimp really day to use. I'm not sure what that last part means, but yeah, MailChimp is, it's a good kind of basic free email list builder or like email platform that you can use. A lot of people use MailChimp. I think they do have a paid one too, but I've only ever used the free one on MailChimp. All right. Could you possibly look at mine? I need so much help. I think a lot of us need so much help, so you're not alone. Yeah, just leave your link. You can either put your link here in the comments or on any of the videos. I look at all the comments when people leave. I look at every single comment. I don't know if you guys know that. I look at every single comment that's left on a video. I may not be able to respond to all of them. I try to, as many as I can, but I look at all of the links. So for sure, put your link and I will a look at it for the future. Struggling so much with getting sales. I'm literally getting 10 views a day. So I'm not sure if you've watched through the Etsy playlist. I keep mentioning that, but I really do have so many videos on that playlist that talk specifically about sales strategy. So increasing your sales, things you can do with external sources, things you can do on Etsy to specifically to increase sales. So for sure, go look at that. I don't have enough time today to like get into all the nitty-gritty specifics of the strategies, but there's one video in particular that says, the thumbnail, it says, no sales, do this now. It's like, and then I think the title is step-by-step formula of how to start, getting more sales. So that one for sure you need to watch. But I mentioned a lot in my other videos as well. So after this, for sure, go watch that. Thank you so much for sharing that. I've already got 2 to 4 pages of notes. Awesome, Jenna. I'm glad you're taking notes. That means that's a good sign. That means you're serious, you're dedicated, you're going to put it into practice. I think that's wonderful. Hopefully some of this can help you guys and give you some things to work on to level up a little bit in the next couple weeks. Okay, how would you make videos for art print listings? I have no idea how to. Okay, so for something like that, art print listings, I think you're talking about like a digital download of like different art prints. So what I would suggest is probably, I don't know, there's probably different ideas on that. What the first thing that comes to mind for me would be like to get a physical, like get your own physical copies of your different prints that you're offering and frame them really nicely and put them up on the wall or something, and then take a video of the physical art on the wall. However you would want to do that, whether it be different clips of different ones or kind of scanning some different ones. There's different styles of the video, but you could do that. You could also have a video of a person showing a person on a computer, like download the file, and then showing how easy it is to just like purchase and download and print it out yourself and frame it, and like the whole process of purchasing it and framing it and putting it up. So there's some different angles you could take with that, but you could definitely figure out something to show the prints. Okay, Deanne May says, what are your hours for working on your shop? I'm trying not to let it take over my life and then get burnout. This is a great question because working from home, especially if you have a family or you have different things going on in your life, it really can sort of all like meld together, and it's hard to have those boundary lines of like when is work time, when is family time, when is just the different things that you want to have in your life without it all just becoming a mush, and then you're not doing anything well because you are getting burnout and you're constantly trying to work while doing everything else. So I definitely think this is a great thing to consider. I think, over the years, I've had to struggle with this too. I don't think there's like one easy answer, but there are some strategies for like time management and things that you can do to help, which for me, I found kind of like blocking out my time, like having specific time blocks during the day. So I don't really have specific hours that I work. For some people, that probably is a great idea if you want to just say like from this time to this time, I'm going to do work and then I'm going to be done, make sure that you're going to be done at a certain time. For me, I kind of think of it more as it's a little more flexible depending on what my kids are doing, where I need to be each day, because it's different for each day. So I kind of think of it in blocks. Like I'm going to take this block of a couple hours and I'm going to go to my workspace and get some things done. And so the kids kind of know during that time, like mommy's working. I mean, for the most part, sometimes they still need stuff, but for the most part, that works for me to have like a block of time for that day. And it varies. Again, mine's a little more flexible because it kind of varies depending on the day. And I don't even work every day either. So I have certain days that I do and certain days that I don't. And so it really just depends on what your schedule looks like, what other needs are in your life. But I would say look into time blocking, and then also looking into batching your work. So if there's things that you can batch, which means that you're doing a specific thing, but you're doing a lot of it to get it all done during that time. So for instance, like if you make wood signs and you have a lot of sanding to get done, instead of making one sign, like the whole process, like the cutting and sanding and painting and finishing, like doing that for each sign, maybe have like a 2-hour window that you're sanding everything. You get like 20 signs sanded or cut, or you're painting that day. You batch your painting. So you're batching like specific tasks to get it done all in a group. So that way, like if you're able to do it that way, it does go faster and it helps you produce more in the long run than trying to like do the whole process each time, if that makes sense. All right, should you have discount sales if your shop is new to Etsy? So yeah, there's probably different opinions on this as well. I personally think if you're new to Etsy, that is for sure the time to like discount sales, where you're running promotions like all the time to stir up some momentum. Because like I've taught before in a lot of my other videos, momentum is the name of the game with the Etsy algorithm. So once your items are making consistent sales, then it's a little more organic and you don't have to be doing that stuff all the time. And Etsy will be picking you up and showing you in the results higher. But until then, you really do have, it's up to you basically to get your listings to the point where the Etsy algorithm can pick you up. So that means you have to have some sales. You have to have some things already happening in your shop. So I for sure in the beginning ran a lot of discounts. I still do sometimes if I want to like pick things up a little bit. But yeah, offering discount codes, offering sales. And again, I talk about that a lot, like specifically how to do that in correlation with maybe a Facebook group or on Instagram, wherever your audience is, you're tying together, you're promoting to them with the big discounts, with your product launches, and you're building your audience at the same time. But yeah, so I would say yes, for sure in the beginning to try to get things going. Okay. Okay, we have, if you put your shop on vacation mode for a long time, does it take for Etsy to find your shop? I think you're asking, so if you put your shop in vacation mode, like for an extended period of time, does it take Etsy a while to find your shop after that? So people, again, have had different experiences with vacation mode. The majority of what I've heard from people that have done it, it's been negative. It's been like kind of a bad thing after they come back from vacation mode. They've not wanted to, or the Etsy algorithm has not wanted to show them as high anymore. Like if they were on the first or second page, they might be way back in the search results and things like that. So it's not that Etsy won't show your shop anymore, but I have heard, and again, it's not official. It's not like Etsy has said, if you put your shop in vacation mode, we're going to drop you or whatever. But from personal experience from other sellers that I've heard, the overwhelming majority is that it was a negative result coming back from vacation mode. So I always say, I don't think it's like not an option, but if you need a break, or if your sales are coming too much, you need like to slow down, there's different things you can do, like raising your prices for a while or extending your processing times to sort of like cut down on the orders, give yourself a little break. Try those things before putting your shop on vacation mode, just to avoid any kind of negative result from that. But I mean, if it's a last resort, you always can for sure. I just wouldn't, I wouldn't jump to that first if you can do something else. Email. So my email is katehayes.co@gmail.com. And I actually typed it in earlier in the comments, so it should be up there in the comments. Okay, so I have a couple more minutes. We're almost out of time. I'm going to take a couple more questions if anybody has anything. So if you sell one-of-a-kind items or only a few of one item, how does the Etsy algorithm show your items if they can't be boosted with multiple sales? Okay, so that's a good question. That's one thing that I actually started out making purely customized items. And so I couldn't sell them over and over again because it was just like a custom thing, like one and done, the listing's done. So I would say, honestly, I made the change from that to products that I knew I could sell over and over again with the same listing for that reason, because making the purely custom items, not only is it, you're not able to streamline that kind of business model because it's so custom. Not that it's a bad business model, and for sure people like to have purely custom things, but as far as like growing on Etsy with your listings, it's hard if you can't use the same listing to be boosted from having multiple sales on it, if that makes sense. I feel like probably the only shops that really do well in that kind of niche are the ones that have a ton of listings and are making a lot of shop sales, like sales in their shop. They're not on the same listings, but they're constantly making sales because they have just a ton of listings and they're very established and well known. So Etsy's still going to be promoting even new listings of theirs, maybe because their shop is so established and already has a lot of success. Because shop score is one of the 7 things that the Etsy algorithm takes into account. It's not just about the specific listings, it's also about the whole shop. So it's a little bit harder, I would think, as a new shop to get established in that sort of niche if you're not able to reuse your listings and renew them and have them making multiple sales over and over again to boost them, if that makes sense. I would just do all you can to establish your shop itself, to bring in people from your audience that you built, whether it be friends and family or your community or people that just have seen you before that are now in your audience, to really be trying to make more sales in your shop as a whole. But I would also consider maybe introducing some products that can be a little more streamlined, that maybe are not one-of-a-kind items, but there's still items that can be customized to a certain extent, like offering a few options, for colors or sizes or whatever, but it's not like a one and done listing. It can be a listing that can continue being used and renewed over and over again. I would consider offering that, if you can, offering some of those products as well, because that's a much easier way to grow and to be able to kind of boost those same listings. Okay, so a physical art print. Yeah, so you could do the same thing for that video that I was talking about. Just you could do little clips of a video clip of each one that you're offering and have just one video for every listing that sort of shows just sort of a wide range of what you're offering. But again, you could always just go on, get some inspiration from some different Etsy shops. So go on Etsy and type in, art prints and look at the shops that seem more established and successful and see if any of them have videos and just gain some inspiration from the style of their videos and how they're doing it. Okay, let's see. Is it necessary to make socials for my new shop to start selling? So it's not necessary, but I definitely would encourage it if you can, maybe to just pick one platform to start with. Because like I talk about thinking long-term and thinking in terms of bringing back return customers, that's one great way to make sure that you're making a personal connection with your buyers and you're kind of keeping them around for the long term instead of just them buying one thing and then they're done and they don't even remember your shop. Leading them to an email list or to a social platform of yours is a great way to continue that relationship so that they remember your shop and next time they're ready to buy, they might think of you again. So it's not necessary, but I would consider it. It's a great way also to boost, when you're first starting, to get some excitement going, to get some momentum going, to get your audience looking at your stuff. It's a good way to just drive traffic for sure. Okay, so I'm just going to maybe do one more. Let's see. All right, last one. How long does it usually take for an item to sell if you have just started your business? Okay, so again, that varies very widely depending on what you're selling and how quickly you get your shop going. I would say that it can be anywhere from a couple days to a few months. Some people have been on there for years without ever making a sale. If it gets to that point, I would say something needs to change. It shouldn't take that long, but it's very common for it to even take a few months. So I would not get discouraged. I would just do everything you can to, first of all, get your shop to top-notch quality with everything we've talked about with your photography and your SEO, all of those things. And then make sure that you're doing everything you can on your social platforms, on Pinterest, on email lists, through word of mouth, whatever it may be, to drive traffic to your shop. So that's for sure going to get the ball rolling quicker than if you just sort of publish your listings and wait around and you do your shop launch, but you're not really doing anything to let anybody know that it's there or to show it to anybody. Nobody knows it exists. So you have to really be determined, if you want it to go quicker, to bring people in, to be driving traffic, spreading the word, offering discounts, offering product launch discounts, like making a big to-do about your shop launch. If you're doing all of that, those first few sales should come in quicker. All right, guys, I think that's all of the questions I'm going to have time for today. I see all of your comments. Thank you guys for your sweet words. Thank you, Kate. You're sharing experience in such a clear and informative way. It's so helpful, and you have so much experience. I'm about to open my first Etsy shop ever. Yay! I'm so excited for you. That is awesome. I am more than happy to share these tips with you guys. Excited to walk along the journey with you. And Indra, I am so excited for you to start your first shop. I hope that it's super successful. I hope that you just make sales right away. That would be so fun. Okay, thank you guys again. I'm so glad you all joined. Remember to hop over and join the Facebook community group after this if you want to be part of that group, and say hello to us over there. Thanks, y'all. Have a great rest of your day.